Hey guys, my name is Ritu Sachdev. Today here in this tutorial, I'm gonna show you how you can create contact form inside Modal in Bootstrap. And they will also save you from creating an additional web page for contact form. We will be using HTML5 tags too for validation. Before going into action, I want to preview the things which we are going to learn in this tutorial. See here, this is a navigation bar. I'm not gonna create this navigation bar in the tutorial. If you want to see how I have created this navigation bar, you can watch my earlier tutorial. I already have it on my channel. So here you can see I have a contact tab. When I will click on it, a dialog box appears in three parts. This is header for the model, this is body of the model, this is footer of the model. In the header, I have heading, please fill up this contact form. In the body section, I have three fields for my contact form, name, email, message. And you can see there is a gray text in the input field. Please fill up your first name and last name, which will disappear when I will start typing something. So this is done with the help of HTML5 tag. And if I will try to submit this form without filling up this field, it will pop up some error message. See, please fill out this field. So it is a compulsion for user to fill up this field before submitting this contact form. And it also requires proper format for the email address also. If I will type something random and say it to submit, it will again pop up message, please include an @ in the email address. Ritu is missing an @. And again it is compulsion to fill up this message area. See, we have a pop-up, please fill out this field. If I try to submit it, empty. Now if I will try to submit it, it will submit the form. So this is what I'm gonna show you how you can create contact form in Modal in Bootstrap. So let's get started. Here I have already opened up Adobe Dreamweaver Creative Cloud. You can use any code editor. The doc type I'm using is HTML5. Here I have linked up all the necessary files related to Bootstrap as CDN. On the line number 7, it's latest compiled and minified CSS. And on the line number 50, it's latest compiled and minified JavaScript. All you can get from the official website getbootstrap.com. And on the line number 48, it's latest compiled and minified jQuery file, which you can easily get from jQuery.com. Now here I have already coded navigation bar. Let me show you up the preview first. So this is the navigation bar on which in the contact tab we are going to create our model. So that if the user will click on the contact, model dialog box will appear, which will contain contact form inside it. Now if you want to know how I have created this navigation bar, you can watch my earlier tutorial. I already have it on my channel. I'm not gonna redo it again to save the time. Here, this is my channel. And in the videos tab, you will find a video number 8 for Bootstrap. Bootstrap 3.2.0 responsive and fixed menu bar or navigation bar. So in this video of mine, I have explained how you can create this type of navigation bar. Now let's proceed to create contact form in Modal. Now the very first thing I would like to do is, here I have given link for this contact button. It's a href hash. So I will remove this href attribute and add some data attribute instead. So let's have anchor tag and data dash toggle is equal to model, as we want our model to toggle. Now the second thing I want to have is data dash target is equals to my model. Simply this will be the ID which we are going to have, hash my model. Very soon we are going to define ID. If you want, you can use different ID, but you can't choose the classes which we are going to use. All the classes are pre and inbuilt. Now let's create our model. So here when I have ended up the coding of this navigation bar, here on the line number 47, let's have a div with the class of model. Let's add one more class, fed. To understand the things very simple, let's first create basic model. Then I will show you how we can add contact form in that model. So let's have a div with the class of fed and ID is equals to my model. This is the same ID which we have defined earlier. If you are using different ID, you have to mention that ID here. Tab index is equals to -1. So if the user is trying to navigate it with the help of tab key, it won't happen. And role is equals to dialog, as it's a dialog box. Area dash hidden is equals to true. Let's close this model div. See, what we have done is we have inserted a div with the class of model. We want to have fed in effect, so we have given a class fed, and ID is what we have already chosen with our data attribute hash my model. Now this is the tab index and the role is dialog, as it's a dialog box, as it's initially our model window is hidden until and unless if anybody clicks on the contact button. So area dash hidden is equals to true. Now inside this div model, let's have div with the class of model dash dialog. Let me give little intent. Now inside model dialog, let's have a div with the class of model dash content. There are so many divs inside divs, but all the classes are pre-written. So this is just the matter of practice. So let's close this our model dash content. Now inside this model dash content, we will be having three things: header for our model, body for our model, and footer for our model. So let's have a div with a class of model dash header. Let's close this model header. Let's have some text inside it. In h3 tag, this is the header of our model. Let's have another div with a class of model dash body, which will have main content for our model. Let's have some content inside it. In p tags, this is the body of model. Let's close this p tag. Right, now let's have our footer for model. So div with a class of model dash footer. This is footer of our model. Instead of having some text in footer, let's have a button, a close button, so that if anybody will click on that button, that will close the model window. So let's have a button tag type is equals to button, class is equals to btn dash danger. This danger gonna give me red color button. If you want to know more about this classes of buttons, danger, primary, info, success, all you can learn from my earlier tutorial. I already have it on my channel. So this danger gonna give me red color button. And let's have data attribute data dash dismiss is equals to model, as we want our model to be closed if anybody hits on the close button. Let's close this button tag, and in the text on the button I want to have is close. Now let's save up this much and let's see what we have done so far. Let's refresh our web page. Now if anybody will click on the contact, here I have model. This is the header of our model. This is the body of model. And this is the close button which we have created in footer. If we will hit on it, it will close the model window. Now let's have contact form in the body of model. Right? In the header, let's change the text. Please fill up this contact form, as now we're gonna be creating contact form. In the body section, let me empty the body section also. Now let's have a form tag. Give it a class form dash horizontal, again a pre-inbuilt class in Bootstrap. Role is equals to form. Let's close this form tag after closing this model footer. Now let's have a div with a class of form dash group. Basically this form group creates separate rows in form in Bootstrap. So again and again we will be inserting this div with a class of form group for each and every field in form. Let's close this div. Let's have our label for the form. So label for the very first thing in our form we want is name. So I will be using the same ID, name. Label should always be the same which you are giving ID to your input field. So name will be my ID. So label for is equals to name, and class is equals to call dash xs dash 2. If you remember in our earlier tutorial on Bootstrap, we have learned that Bootstrap is based on grid system, and now it will occupy 2 columns from the 12 columns this label will occupy. The total should always be 12. If you want to know more about this grid system in Bootstrap, you can watch my this tutorial. Here it is. Tutorial number 1 on Bootstrap. Apply Bootstrap, make web pages responsive very easily. as this grid system is very essential to create our web page responsive. Let's have another class, control dash label. Let's close our label, and the text I want to have is name. Now let's have input field for our label. So after this label, let's have a div with a class of call dash xs dash 10. Now we want our 10 columns from the 12. 10 plus 2 is equals to 12. So let's close this div. Now inside this, let's have our input tag input type is equals to text. Class is equals to form dash control. ID is equals to name. As I have already told you, labels should be same the ID which you are giving to your input field. So ID is name. You can choose different ID you want, but you have to mention same IDs on both the places. Now let's close this input tag, and I also want to create a button, submit button first in the footer. Then we will go for the preview of this, what we have done so far. So before having this close button, let me have submit button also. So we will also learn the validation if we will have submit button on this form. So let's have a input tag. Input name is equals to submit. Type is equals to submit. ID is equals to submit. Value is equals to submit. And one more thing, I would like to add a class for this button. Class is equals to btn dash primary. That will give us blue color button for the submit. Let's save up this much and let's reload. Now when I will click on contact, see, this is the heading what we have changed. Please fill up this contact form. And this is the label name, right? Label for name, name. And this is the input for name. And this is the input field for name. And this is our submit button and close button. If someone will click on this submit button, the form will be sent to your inbox. Now I want to introduce you with one or two more attributes of HTML5 tag, and let's validate this form also using HTML5. So here on the line number 58, let's have placeholder. This placeholder gives hint what user have to fill up in the field. So let's have please fill up your first and last name. Let's save up this much and let's preview. Let's refresh first. See, this is what we have in placeholder. Please fill up your first and last name. It should be yours. Now when I will start typing here, say my name, Ritu Sachdev, this gray text will disappear. Let's close this and now let's validate it. To validate, simply we will have attribute required. Let's save up and let's refresh. Now when I will click on contact and straight away when I will click on submit, it won't allow me to submit this form unless and until I will fill up this. This is because of this required. I can close it, but I can't submit it. I have to enter something inside it. Then it will allow me to submit. Now let's again copy this div class form group. And let's paste it again. Now let's have our second field as email. So the ID I will be giving is email. Yes, you can change the different ID, but as I have already mentioned earlier, you should have same ID and same label. And input type, let's have email this time. So that will also validate the format for our email. It should have @ like ritu@gmail.com. It won't allow us to fill up this field in improper format if I will have input type as email. And one more benefit of this input type email is if someone is using mobile for filling up the contact form, they will straight away have button .com in their keyboard of mobile. Now in the placeholder, let's have some text like example.johnsmith@gmail.com or anything you feel much proper, so that user will have proper hint how they have to fill up their email address. And let's have required attribute also, so that we can't leave it empty while submitting up the form. Let's change the label also here, email. Let's save up and let's preview now. Now when I will click on contact, I have another field, email, and it's example johnsmith@gmail.com. I can't leave both of these fields empty now, as we have validated it with required attribute. See, when I will try to hit submit, again please fill out this field. And as I have told you, we are using input type as email, so it will require proper format. See, if I will type something random and say it to submit, it will pop up some error message. Please include an @ in the email address, right? And missing is an @. Let's have email address like this and let's hit submit. Yeah, now it's submitted. Now similarly you can create location and phone number also, or anything you want. But now to save the time, I'm proceeding to have message for our contact form. So let me copy this div class form group and paste it again to have message field or text area. Here the label I want to have is now message, and label for email, instead of label for email, let's have comments here, as I will be giving ID as comments. You can change the ID as I have told you earlier also. Same is the ID, same is the label, to make the things function properly. Now I don't want placeholder here, so let's remove it. Let's have required for this time also, and instead of input type, now we will be having text area. Let's have tag text area. Class should be form control. ID is comments. Now let's close this text area. Let's save up this much and let's refresh now. Okay, so now we have a message box or text box so that anybody can message us. That will be sent to our inbox if proper programming is done with PHP. This is a test message. And yeah, obviously we need to fill up all the fields as we have our required attribute in the source code. Now one more thing you can do is you can mention the height using row. Here you have to mention rows. Let's have 4. Let's save up and let's refresh. Now when I will click, I have the height of message box is increased by 4 rows. So this is how you can create contact form in Modal.
So this is done, friends, and if you like this video of mine, do thumbs it up. Do not forget to subscribe me, and if you want to learn these subjects directly from me, do contact me. Have a good day. Bye bye.